Yo, what's up guys? In this video, we got a special treat. We're gonna be doing an on-road and highway test of this bike, the 2023 Ducati Desert X. Let's jump into it.
Alright, here we are aboard the 2023 Ducati Desert X. This is going to be a first ride on-road and on-highway test, just to kind of get a feel for the bike in an immediate first ride review sort of way. I literally have put 0 miles on this bike since hopping on it, so this is a legitimate first impression, and honestly, jumping on it, it feels kind of interesting from someone who's ridden all different Ducati models, most closely related to like a Multistrada V4 or like a Multistrada V2, but it's different in that it's like a lot narrower, and I feel like the handlebars are a lot higher, so it's really kind of its own thing. Just a little background on this bike. The Ducati Desert X is a brand new model from Ducati they came out with in 2022, and it was their first time coming out with kind of a middleweight adventure touring bike, specifically with a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear. Like, they had not done that in recent history, and so this was their first step into kind of the off-road middleweight segment. And yeah, it doesn't really fit in with the whole Ducati lineup. It's a brand new category completely, and you can feel it when you're on the thing. It feels very much like you're riding on like a BMW GS, you know, maybe like the smaller GS, or it feels like you're riding on KTM or something, like a super adventure. It's very it doesn't have the normal Ducati feel to it. You know, the riding position on this bike is similar to like a Multistrada V2 or a Multistrada V4, but it definitely feels more suitable for like standing up and riding the bike off-road in this upright standing position. You know, one thing that really jumps out when you get on this bike for the first time is the dash. It's in a vertical arrangement, which is, to be honest, I think it looks super cool, and you know, all the information is displayed in this like upright position. Another unique characteristic about this bike is the number of riding modes that it has. So most Ducati bikes with different riding modes will have maybe like 3 or 4 different riding modes. This one's got 6 different riding modes. We can take a look at them right now. So right now we're in the touring mode. You've got a wet mode, which looks like it's got a low horsepower map, touring mode, urban mode, sport mode, rally mode, and enduro. And all of these sound pretty familiar, with the exception of this rally mode. So this must be set up more for doing off-road, just like the enduro mode does, but with power at full power, where normally the enduro mode drops it down to the lower horsepower map. So pretty cool stuff. And then, you know, another thing about this bike is the styling. It's got a really kind of retro techno look to it, like the 2 round headlights in the front, and you know, this Arctic white, kind of matte white paint job with this Lucky Strike cigarette paint scheme on it. It really, you know, really looks a lot like the old Cagiva Dakar bikes that Ducati made back in the 90s, and I really dig it. I think it's funky. It reminds me of like Star Wars or Wall-E, or you know, some sort of kind of old school techno look to it. What do you think of the look of this bike, Trace?
I enjoy it, man. It definitely does look like a stormtrooper, but it's growing on me.
Right?
Yeah, it really is. I really like the headlights too. I think that's really cool how they just did 2 circles.
So yeah, I mean, from an aesthetic standpoint, I think the bike, it stands out. It stands out. It looks like, it doesn't look like a Multistrada, it doesn't look like a GS, it doesn't look like a sport touring bike. So from like a street riding like use case scenario, it's definitely something that's going to catch some eyes. It's going to catch some attention. So another interesting thing about riding this bike on the street is that the 21-inch and 18-inch wheel set you know, you don't typically find on a street bike. And you know, they put this big wheel set on here so that it can climb up over, you know, dirt, gravel, small rocks, you know, even like tree branches or small trees, and it can do that pretty easily with that wheel set. But what, you know, a lot of people prefer the smaller 17-inch wheel set that you'll find on like a Multistrada Pikes Peak V4, or you know, even the 19-inch wheel front that you'll find on like the Multistrada V2, just because it gives the bike a more planted feel mid-corner. It gives a you know, having the same wheel size front and rear, I think makes the bike feel like it's tracking better mid-corner. So we're going to be taking this bike on some on-ramps later to see if that 21-inch front and 18-inch rear has like a weird feeling, especially compared to maybe like, you know, a 17-inch wheel set like you'd find on a sport bike or any other traditional road bike. These also have the Pirelli Scorpion Rally tires, which are like a kind of a heavy-duty off-road tire, more of a knobbly tire than you'd find on like a you know, non-off-road bike. So
probably closer to a 70-30.
Yeah, probably more off-road than on-road, that's for sure. And you can feel it, like at low speed you can kind of feel those knobs rumbles, you know, rumbling below you. All right, so first impressions on the Desert X. It felt really surprisingly nimble and lightweight. I really liked the seat to foot peg to handlebar rider triangle. I had a lot of control of the bike. It felt really good standing up. The seat felt super comfortable. The foot pegs are really big and have a nice grip on your boot, which I'd imagine would be really fantastic for going off-road. It is a really tall seat height, so you're going to need a 30-inch plus inseam straight up, or you're going to be one-footing it. It's obviously going to sit a lot taller with this 21-inch front wheel and almost 10 inches of ground clearance. So that's just part of the game when you're riding these big adventure bikes. It felt pretty lightweight. I was surprised. I was thinking that when I was riding it, it would have a lot of top heaviness to it or heft, but it felt really surprisingly lightweight. The power delivery felt pretty good. Haven't really gotten on it yet. We'll jump on the freeway here in a little bit and whack the throttle and see what it's got, give it all the beans. And yeah, overall I was very pleased with it, very happy. All right, so we've been cruising around in the touring mode. I'm gonna switch it up now and slap it into the sport mode, so when we get on the highway we can get a full experience from the power of this motor. The engine that's in the Ducati Desert X is the Testastretta 950 motor, the same engine you'll find in the Multistrada V2, the Hypermotard, the Super Sport, and the new Monster. So it's a very widely used motor across Ducati's platforms, and it's for a good reason. This motor has really long service intervals, it makes nice middleweight power, and it's tested. It's, you know, been utilized in so many bikes over so many years. It is a proven product from Ducati, so why not put it into this bike as well? The gearing on this bike, however, is slightly different. Ducati has made first and second gear on this Desert X a little bit shorter so that it would do better in off-road use, which totally makes sense. We're going to see how that plays out here as we jump on the freeway. We're going to do a 0 to 60 test on this puppy. As we jump on this freeway on-ramp, I'm going to get a feel for what it's like having the 21-inch front wheel and 18-inch rear with the bike leaned over. Does it track funny? Does it track normal? Let's find out. So this is a looping on-ramp, 270 degree. I'm leaning it over as much as I feel comfortable in this slightly damp pavement, and honestly it feels great. It tracks pretty much normal. I can't really get a feel for anything strange about it. So 0 to 60 test, Desert X, let's go. That was better. I was getting a little bit of the traction control flickering, but it was hooking up pretty good, and honestly this thing felt really fast. All right, so we are back at Redmond Used Motorcycles, Redmond Motorsports, and just got done doing the 0 to 60 test. taking the bike on the highway, taking it on the on-ramp, and it tracked better in the corner than I expected it to. I was thinking it would want to like walk itself off of its line coming on that on-ramp, but it felt pretty good. I mean, I wasn't pushing it very hard. It's a bit of a damp day, so it'd be more fun to try it out on a day where you've got lots of temperature in the road, lots of good grip. But it felt better than expected, to be honest. The 0 to 60 test on it felt fantastic. It engaged some of the traction control, perhaps a little bit of the wheelie control too, but in a way that was very non-interruptive. It was only noticeable because of the light flashing on the dash. I did not feel power getting cut to the rear wheel. So that was really, really nice. Ducati's come a long way with their traction control system to make it feel like it's not even there while keeping you safe. On the freeway, the bike felt super planted. You have your tall windscreen on this specific bike that keeps the wind off the rider, and you've got your hand guards to keep the cold off your knuckles, heated grips. It felt great. Throw the cruise control on. I could do multiple days, no problem on this thing.
You can probably do a 400 or 500 mile a day, no problem.
Honestly, I would rather take this bike on a long touring trip than taking it off-road. Maybe even compared to like a multi-strada.
Thanks for watching this first ride review on the 2023 Ducati Desert X. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.